All right, today we're diving into Alumis. This is a biotech company that thinks it's found a totally new, much more powerful way to go after some of the toughest autoimmune diseases out there, all by following a clue that was hiding in our own DNA. And really, this is the one question that's at the heart of their entire strategy. It didn't start in some fancy lab, but with the clue that nature just handed to us, a little genetic quirk that protects certain people from disease. And, basically lit up a new path for treatments. Okay, so first, let's just set the stage here. We're talking about conditions like psoriasis, lupus, multiple sclerosis, and they are notoriously hard to treat. The therapies we have now, they work for some people, sure, but a whole lot of patients are just left behind, waiting for something that's better, safer, and that actually works for them. And listen, we're not talking about some small niche group here. We are talking about millions and millions of people all over the world. The unmet need is just massive. And for these patients, the stakes couldn't be higher. They're all waiting for a real breakthrough that could genuinely change their lives. This is where the story gets really interesting. The entire Alumis strategy, everything they do, is built on a clue from just one gene. It's called TYK2. And it turns out, nature has been running this quiet little experiment on this gene for generations. So here's the clue. It turns out a small slice of the population just happens to carry a natural mutation in their TYK2 gene. They don't even know they have it. There are no downsides. But get this, what it gives them is this powerful built-in protection against a whole bunch of autoimmune diseases. And this genetic data shows you exactly how it works. If you've got just one copy of that mutated gene, you get around 40 to 50% protection from a disease like psoriasis. But get this, if you have two copies, that protection almost doubles to 80%. That was the light bulb moment. The realization that to really copy what nature is doing, you have to shut down TYK2 activity as much as you possibly can. So Alumis looked at this data and it basically screamed one thing at them. The message coming from our own biology was crystal clear. If you want to make a drug that mimics this natural protection, you can't just, tap the target gently. You have to hit it, and you have to hit it hard. And that's how they came up with their whole philosophy, the hit it hard theory. The goal isn't just to sort of reduce the inflammation. It's to go for maximum inhibition, to completely shut it down. It's the difference between just dimming the lights in a room versus flipping the switch all the way off. Now, to get why this is so important, you gotta understand what TYK even does. The best way to think about it is as a master switch. It's this key protein that when it gets turned on, it kicks off this whole chain reaction of signals that tell your body, hey, create inflammation. In autoimmune disease, that switch is basically stuck in the on position. And this right here is the key difference between Alumis and everyone else. The competitor drugs, they only manage to get partial inhibition. They can only dim that inflammation signal. Alumis, on the other hand, designed their drugs specifically to achieve maximum inhibition, keeping the drug levels high enough to completely flip that switch off and keep it off 24/7. That's the whole ballgame. Okay, so a great theory is one thing, but does it actually hold up in the real world with real patients? Alumis put their hit it hard idea to the ultimate test in a big clinical trial for psoriasis. This was pretty much the moment of truth. So, the big question for everyone, scientists, doctors, patients, you name it, was simple. Would hitting this target harder actually give you a better result? Well, let's look at the data. And the answer was a huge, resounding yes. The doses that only gave partial inhibition, well, they performed pretty much like the other drugs on the market. But that one dose, the one designed to hit it hard, it produced this incredible 20% jump in how many patients responded. It was just like the genetic data predicted. Hitting the target harder actually worked. This was the proof that their theory was now a fact. And what that translates to is a whole new level of performance for an oral drug in psoriasis. We're talking about an 80-60-40 result. That means roughly 80% of patients saw their skin get 75% clearer, 60% saw 90% clearance, and an amazing 40% achieved completely clear skin. Think about that, 40% of people with totally clear skin just from a daily pill. That's a game changer. And it's not just about the skin clearance, which is already huge. The drug also gives people better and faster relief from itching, which is a massive win for patients. And maybe most importantly, it does all of this with an incredibly clean safety profile, even after being tested in over 2,000 patients. I mean, that's the whole package right there. Top-tier results and proven safety. Okay, so they proved the hit-it-hard theory works in psoriasis. Huge success. But they're not just stopping there. Now they're taking that exact same blueprint and applying it to fight other autoimmune diseases where TYK2 is the main culprit. They've got a really clear, ambitious game plan. Step 1, lock down psoriasis and set a new standard for oral drugs. Next up, take that win and move into lupus, where a big, pivotal trial is already enrolling patients. And from there, they're advancing a special version of their drug that can get into the brain, taking it into trials for multiple sclerosis. Now, of course, a plan this ambitious needs money, a lot of it. So the big question for any company like this is, can they actually afford to do all this? Well, Alumis has made absolutely sure that the answer to that question is yes. After a recent merger, they are sitting on a huge pile of cash. We're talking over $600 million. What that means in simple terms is they have a cash runway that gets them all the way into 2027, which is more than enough time to get through all their most important clinical trial results without worrying about money. And you're not going to have to wait forever to see what happens next. The next couple of years are absolutely packed with major news. 2026 is shaping up to be a massive year for them. We're expecting the final phase 3 data for psoriasis early in the year. And that's going to be followed by the pivotal data from their lupus trial and maybe even data from their MS program too. It's a timeline just loaded with catalysts. So when you step back and look at it, Alumis started with this tiny clue from our own DNA. They built a really bold theory around it, and then they went out and actually proved it with data. They've basically crafted a new kind of master key for autoimmune disease and used it to unlock the door for psoriasis, which leaves us with one final, very exciting question to think about. Which door are they going to open next?